So the evidence shows that neurodiverse staff, particularly autistic staff, have really positive outcomes in terms of productivity. So actually being able to do roles or jobs more efficiently, more quickly sometimes, or being able to pick out details or errors that other members of staff would have missed. And that's partly to do with the fact that their cognitive profile or their style is different to neurotypical members of staff, and as such they would have strengths in terms of attention to detail perhaps, or focusing on one particular issue, or maybe even repeating a task over and over again, where a neurotypical colleague would lose sight of what they're looking for. So the evidence shows us that the autistic strengths in the workplace can be a real benefit to companies and can make a real difference, not just in terms of having different people in your organisation, but for the bottom line, for profits as well.
And it's things such as not always thinking the way that neurotypical people think, thinking outside the box, or even better still, letting the employers know that there isn't a box. So autistic people can come up with ideas that others might not even see. And it's definitely a skill, and it's an advantage, and it's one that's overlooked and not often recognised. And I think when employers realise that autistic people can bring different skills that they won't get elsewhere, they see it as a bonus.
In the police, we're looking for people who think differently. We're looking for ways to solve problems, find different strategies. A neurodiverse workforce is exactly what the police need.
To be successful as a business, especially in our field, which is tech, you have to be innovative, you have to have new ideas, and you're not going to get new ideas from the same old profile of people. And this is, we champion diversity not just in terms of neurodiversity, but gender, ethnicity, all of the ways, all the fantastic ways humans are very, very different.
The potential for industry is to acquire people with particular strengths in certain areas. The characteristics I have as in not being able to relate socially to people, actually I don't suffer from social bias, and I can look at a situation and strip out a lot of the biases which might affect a judgment. So I can apply my thinking in social situations to analyse and produce potentially results which people will not see because they're affected by bias, and I can just literally cut through. Well, it's just not there for me.
I think obviously it depends on the individual, but some of the real strengths that neurodiverse people can bring to the business that actually helps profitability and our business run efficiently is around the real focus they can bring to tasks. And I think that kind of, again, logical, analytical mind, that they will just crack on and do something and often be a lot more efficient in doing it than someone who maybe doesn't have that same way of thinking about problems.
So, for example, within a team, a police team, if you have that one person who can actually sit there and just go through the data, go through the stats, go through crime data, analysing the data, I certainly know that's not for me. But if there's someone is in the team who can do that and pick up that little bit of detail, then whereas I'm the people person and I can talk and talk and talk, I know where my skills are and I know where they're best placed. But if you have that other person, a good team knows how to use the person's skills and where they're best placed to, and you complement each other that way.
The ability to think quickly as well, to go through lots of stages in a very short amount of time in an emergency situation as a police force, as a police officer, is key. Is a real key, rather than standing, okay, A, B, C, D, A, Z, right, we need to do this. Similarly, they're looking at those minor details, but little details which somebody that has to respond quickly may miss, but somebody whose brain works in a different way will pick up that missing piece of the puzzle.
So an example of increased productivity with hiring an autistic person that I've seen would be in a customer service role, which there's quite a lot of emphasis on upselling to customers. So they buy a drink, would you like something to go with that? Would you like to make that a larger drink? And when the autistic employee has been trained really well in what those conversations are, they've been really vigilant to make sure that they have them, and because they've learnt the role in quite a methodical way, they couldn't imagine not doing that or ever forgetting to try to upsell to a customer. So that's been really good for revenue for the organisation.
If you employ us, we can make your workplace way more inclusive for everyone involved, not just other neurodiverse people and other disabled people. We will think of things that you wouldn't even think of because they don't affect you.
So by having a workplace that are very open and public about hiring from a diverse pool of people, that also brings in the purple pound. So the spending power of disabled people, of neurodiverse people, is massive because they're a large section of our community. So if an organisation shows that yes, we support, for example, autistic people, we know that brings in more autistic customers to the organisation. It's fantastic for their reputation, as well as being an organisation that reflects the community that you're part of.